Hello basketball coaches and basketball players, my name is Alan from Al's Basketball Training, and today I'm going to show you the top 5 best press defenses that you can use in your next basketball game. So, in this first full court press basketball play, we are going to have a 1-3-1 defense. Basically, I like this defense because it really emphasizes the half-court line. And just like every single press defense that you run, you want to trap your offensive players inside of those areas. You want to do that because there's zero way of getting out if they have that ball. They can't pass back over to here. They also, if done properly, can't get anything over here. The biggest thing that you want to do is basically make sure that everything here is closed off. So they have no pass here, they have no pass here. You want them to be able to pass way over here so that you can intercept that pass. So how this press defense works, the 1-3-1, we're going to have the ball inbounded, and player 1, he wants to be able to push his man either to one of those corners. So if the ball gets passed in on this side of the court, he is going to be taking up that side of the hip so that he can force the player over here. Now, these guys have to stay home. That means that they have to stay at half court. So he is getting pushed along here, and now player 2 needs to take a step back so that now player 1 can get baited into going over to that corner. Now what you're saying is, what happens if he swings the ball around? So now let's say player 4 gets it over here. Now, again, same idea. We want player 3 to take one step back. 4 is still protecting middle of the court because we do not want that ball to get pushed up the middle of the court. That is the absolute worst thing that can happen. So now we're going to have player 1. He's going to sprint over and push player 4 over to that corner. Player 4 needs to continue to hover around this area because, again, we really don't want that to happen. We don't want the ball there. So, player 4 will then get trapped over here. Basically, we want them to either get trapped or continue to pass the ball back and forth on that side of the key or half, mainly because, well, then they're just going to turn over the ball. So in the fourth press defense that I'm going to show you, this is personally not one of my biggest favorites, but I know its uses. So basically, the ball will get inbounded, again trying to push it towards the sidelines. We always want it in the sidelines. So right away, we are going to have player 2 up on that man, and 1 is going to be covering mid-court. Now what we want is player 2, if the ball gets inbounded to this side of the court, to be pushing his man along that sideline. Now, the main thing that we're going to have is now player 1, he is going to be continuing on sort of beside player 2 until player 2 gets the player red 1 to about that 3/4 court line. Now we're going to have player 1 starting to get up so that now player 2 can try and continue to push player 1 over to half court, and player 1 cuts him off right there so that now he's trapped. Again, 4 is still watching half court, 5 is going to be hovering around here, and again he's trapped. Now, what happens if he passes the ball back around? Let's say he passes it around, now player 1 who is on player 2's hip is now going to be the lead on that side, and player 2 needs to be running with player 1's hip. Again, forcing him to the sideline, and 2 is on player 1's hip. That way he can quickly cut off player 1 once he gets past half court, and again, nice and trapped, and 3 is going to be watching the middle. So now I'm going to show you in this third play a 3-1-1. Now, a lot of coaches stay away from this because it does open up a lot of fast break opportunities. However, if you have a very athletic team, I've coached one of these teams before where they're just super athletic, you have no centers, so you can really run your team ragged because you can get those substitutions in every 2 or 3 minutes, and you can really run the other team into the ground. So how we're going to do this is we're going to have 3 up, 1 at half, 1 at the other end of the court. And how we're going to do this is once the ball gets inbounded, usually it's going to be inbounded right into the center of that key, we're going to have player 1 right up on player 1 red, and we're going to have player 3 kind of baiting, allowing the open lane to drive towards that sideline. Again, still covering the middle, and player 2 is going to be covering the other side of the court. So now player 2 is trying to get that interception, but at the same time, if it does make it over to the other side, he's there to be able to push the guy to the sideline. If he gets to the sideline and these guys are still way over here, again, we still want that trap to happen. So what we need is for player 4 to cut off player 3 at half, and now player 3 needs to take player's 4 spot as quick as possible. Now player 5 is covering this large piece of real estate, so player 3 needs to cut down and 1 needs to fill in. So now player 3 covers the middle, 5 covers the wing, and 1 covers the top center. The same would be the same would happen on the other side of the court as well. In this 4th press basketball play that I'm going to show you, we're going to have 2-2-1, so 2, 2, and then 1. Basically, same idea, just like all the others. I feel like I'm saying the same thing over again. We're going to be pushing them to the sideline. However, what we're going to have is once the ball is inbounded, the closest player, which is right in this chance is player 2, he's going to be right up on player 1. And this is going to be one-on-one. Player 1's not going to be helping out any. He's watching this side of the court. He wants to be able to stay there and staying with the player, because usually in a press break there's only 2 offensive players up there. He's going to be with the other offensive player. So now what we're going to have is player 1 passing or dribbling up the court, and player 2, he is running with player 1. Now if he gets too far over to the sideline, obviously player 1, he isn't exactly, if there's a player kind of straggling along back there, he's not going to give a crap about that guy. He's not going to be running with that guy and waiting for him. He's going to be running over to half court, because now player 4, what's going to happen is player 4 is going to start running down and cutting off player 1, where we need somebody at mid court, and that's roughly what it'll look like once he gets over half. We always want to have a player guarding that corner, a player guarding the middle, and a player guarding center. Now in this last 5th and final full court press basketball defense, I'm going to show you a play that I posted a little while ago. It confused the hell out of me when I first seen it. Basically, it's a big ass line. It's clogging up the middle of the court. So basically, same idea as all the others, trying to push the players to the sideline. And how we're going to do this is, let's say we have these 2 players up there, we have these 2 players over, come on, okay, right there. So let's say player 1 inbounds the ball to player 2. That leaves player 4 wide open. We're going to have player 3 kind of run over towards player 4, so that now if he gets the pass, which is going to be the obvious pass, he's automatically trapped at half court, and we need player 2 to run so that he can catch up, because we want player 4 to stay right in the center of the court. And at this time we want player 1, now everyone else is coming down, we want player 4 to stay at center court, we want player 5 to be watching this whole area until player 1 gets back, and he's going to sprint back to this center, and he's going to be watching the center. Again, player at half, player at center, player in the wing, and 2 players trapping. That's most likely what's going to happen. The idea behind this play is to allow teams to think that they have the sidelines open, but in reality they don't. I hope you have enjoyed today's top 5. If you have, please hit that thumbs up, and if you haven't already, please subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.